When everybody else wonders when they first meet me, what happened. I look a little different. It's the first thing people notice. A few years ago, I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That's what you're looking at. I don't know who in here got their shot. I don't know what your symptoms were, but this was my Fauci ouchie. That's what we call it at home. Obviously, guys, I'm kidding. The government did not do this to me. I was born this way. I was born to two great parents, two good-looking parents. My mother is a spicy Latina. My father is my mom's brother. So, yeah, we keep it a tight-knit group in our family. No, I was actually born with something called Cruzon syndrome. Not a lot of people know what that is. I don't even know what it is, to tell you the truth. Like, people ask me all the time, like, what is Cruzons? And I tell them it's the brand of tequila my mom drank while she was pregnant with me. But that's not true, okay? My mom didn't have her first drink until after she saw what I looked like. It was happy hour in the maternity ward, No, like the last comic said, I don't know if you guys can understand her, but the last comic said, there are ugly babies out there. And I was one of those ugly babies. It is true. It's what the doctor said. Well, it's not really what he said. It was just kind of how he applied it, right? Like, he took one look at me, pulled me out of my mom, and he was like, at least he has a good personality, and then handed me to them. We all know what that's code for, right? Big penis. But also, it's just still a scary thing to see, Like, it's not as bad as what my dad actually said. Like, this is a true story. Upon seeing his newborn son, his firstborn child, he looked over at the doctor and said, "Are we sure he's done yet? Like, can we just put him back in, let him cook a little longer, Like I was a steak, right? Like, he was just like, hey, garçon, yeah, this baby's medium rare, all right? Like, I asked for well done, send it back, please. No, I was an ugly baby, it is true, but it's not a bad thing, okay? Like, I just want to let you guys know, if you're uncomfortable with me saying that, it's fine, all right? It's 2026, I no longer identify as an ugly baby. Just for the record, okay? Like, I now identify as a sexy adult, and that's how I want to be treated. Thank you, that's right. That is right. My pronouns are damn, boy. That's how I want to be addressed. You can be whatever you want to be in America, right? Like, Katy Perry's an astronaut now. You know what I mean? Like, and that's costing you guys money. That's taxpayer dollars, right? It literally costs you nothing for me to be sexy, so I say, let's just let it rip, right? You guys probably don't know this, but I'm actually the sexiest person in the world with Cruzon syndrome. It is true. Until you see another one of us running around in the wild, I am the standard that we judge that on, right? Like, I don't know who in here knows what it's like to be at the top of your race of people, but I am, okay? Like, that's right. I am in the top 1% of googly-eyed fucks that you would want to fuck, okay? It's me and Steve Buscemi. That's it. It's the whole list. And it feels good to be at the top. It wasn't always this easy. I'll be honest with you guys. It was tough for me growing up. Because the way I looked and all that jazz, I was actually put in special education when I first started school. It's because the public school system, they thought like, oh, well, we don't know if the kids are going to integrate with them. We don't know if they're going to like them. Basically, they thought I was going to bite them on the neck and then they were going to turn into whatever I was, right? But that's not how you get this, okay? But that was the public school system, Like, they were like, we don't know what it is. Put him in the basement, he'll be fine, right? That's why I didn't go to a public school. I actually went to a private Christian school because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Christians love me. I'm a 5-star recruit, a first-round draft pick for those guys. It is true, because they took one look at me and they were like, we don't know what that is, but we got to get them on a flyer immediately. We need the money. It's even more offensive when I think about being put in special education, because I grew up in Florida. That whole state is special education, you know what I mean? But the people, the good people of God, they saw me and they said, we see something in them, right? And I really do appreciate that, because it is ironic, going to, I love that school. I went there for 12 years, a lot of good people that I met there, a lot of good values that I got from there. It is just kind of ironic because, according to the Bible, a baby born like me would have been considered an abomination of God. right? And the reason why I know that is because when I started at that school, there was a movie that came out called The Right? But like, don't let all the singing and dancing fool you. It is a dark movie for children. Like, it really is, you know? Like, I'll admit, hiding Quasimodo away in a bell tower is not the worst thing the Catholic Church ever did to a child, but still, don't get mad at me, guys. I didn't do it. Not my fault. But no, I did love that movie growing up. My favorite part of the whole movie is like at the end of it, like Quasimodo goes to save Esmeralda, right? She's about to be lit on fire. He swoops in, unties her. He utters that famous line, right? You know, we've all seen it. I just get really mad, you know, like how the way the movie ended, right? Because like, I don't know if you guys are like me, but if you are like me, you know, growing up, you kind of wanted to see your heroes get some pussy, right? Like, that's why we go to the movies, right? Like, we don't go see James Bond films so we can friend zone somebody, right? Like, that's not what we're paying our good money for, right? You know, like, I watched the movie recently, Hunchback, and I was kind of mad. Like, as an adult, I'm sitting there going, like, really, Esmeralda? You couldn't, like, I don't know, give him a reach around or something? Like, I mean, you know, you don't gotta look him in the eyes or make it personal. You know, or better yet, like, hear me out, why don't you let him go down on you? Okay, that guy has a face that loves to eat pussy, all right? And he's been locked away in seclusion his whole life. He's hungry, let him eat, goddammit. I'm just saying. I know they're gonna get around to making that movie, because they remake all those movies into live action, and eventually they'll get around to that one. And all I'm saying is, give me a call, you know? Like, that is the role I was literally born to play. Just that one, right? I swear to God, if they cast Timothy fucking Chalamet as Quasimodo, I don't care how good of an actor you are, my culture is not a costume, Timothy. Take it off. You know? But that was my dream in life, was to be an actor. I really wanted to be an actor growing up, but then you get older, things change, you realize maybe you're not suited for those things. One thing I did really want to be as like a teenager was I wanted to be a bartender. Like that was, shout out to your bartender, by the way. Getting y'all drunk, making me look better up here, you know. I wanted to be a bartender, and I figured I'd start my way, you know, from the bottom to the top. And the first job I ever applied for was at a Bennigan's, to be like a host, right? Like I figured I'd start there, and I had a good interview. The guy interviewed me was like, "Shea, we think you're great. You got front of the house personality, but you got back of the house looks. So grab an apron, get to work," right? And that's how I got into. I started out in hospitality, not there. Fuck Bennigan's. But I did end up getting a better job at a nice steakhouse in like downtown Tampa. And I worked in the kitchen. I was a dishwasher. I worked with a couple guys from Guatemala. They didn't speak English very well, but they were good, solid hombres, you know. It was also the first time in my life that I ever experienced racism. Because you see, we worked in a really like rich part of town, and like there were all these people that would come into the kitchen, and my boss, the chef, would always tell us specifically, the three of us, he would be like, "Guys, I pay you to work. If these people come in, I don't want you to look at them. I don't want you to talk to them. Just put your head down and keep working. That's why I pay you." And that's what we did. But every Friday on my shift, there was a woman that would come in, and she would talk to me all slow and condescending, right? She would talk to me like this. She would go, "Hi, sir. Hi. Can you help me take the trash downstairs? Thank you. Thank you." And she did this every Friday for 3 months. And I finally got annoyed with it, right? And one day I saw her coming up to me, and before she could say anything, I was like, "I'm gonna stop you right here. I just wanna let you know, I'm an American, right? Like, you don't gotta speak to me like that. You can talk to me normally, like, I understand English. I know this is awkward, but like I felt like I had to get it out there, right?" And I know she felt that. I did, because like her eyes got all big. And she was like, "I am so sorry. I thought you were retarded." And like, I don't know if that's racism per se, but I felt very marginalized in that moment, you know? Like that sort of things happen to me like all the time. Like I've been called that word, been mistaken for that like my entire life, you know? And when I hear that word, it doesn't bother me, you know? Like if a comic came up here and said that word, it wouldn't offend me, you know? But like if a comic came up here and said that word, and then half the audience looked over at me to see if they could laugh, you gotta Google it. That's kind of the territory we're in right now. But I'm a pretty positive guy. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm very confident in myself. I like to take negative things and flip them around. And I will say, there are some benefits to being mistaken for that word, right? I'll give you guys an example. So like growing up, I lived in Florida. We would go to Disney World every summer. We're in the parks. I'm being pushed around in a wheelchair. Not because I had to be, it just made more sense financially for me to be in the wheelchair, right? And it was great, but every time I wanted to get out and play with my cousins, my uncles would like spray me with a bottle of water and be like, get back down, we're not paying full price, It was a reality in my household. Another great thing about, being in this sort of privilege that I have is I played basketball all throughout my life. I was actually pretty good. My senior year in high school, I averaged 20 points a game, which is pretty impressive considering most of it came in like the first half of the game, like the very beginning of the game. You see, because like whenever we would come out, like my team for like, warm-ups and layups, the other coaches would see me and they would go, oh, they're letting him play tonight. Okay, guys, gather around. Tonight, we get to be heroes. Okay? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to let the boy get the ball. We're going to let him take a couple shots. If he makes it, we call a timeout. Everyone's excited. We're going to be on the news. It's going to be great, all right? So put it in. 1, 2, 3. Teamwork, right? Like, that's how the games would start. Like, literally. Like, they would just leave me open. And then I would take a shot. I would make it. I would take another shot. I would make it. Another one. All of a sudden, the coaches are panicking, right? Like, they're calling a timeout. They're just like, all right, guys. What the fuck is going on out there, y'all? This is like the Forrest Gump of basketball. We gotta do something, Put an elbow in his face. That's where he gets all his power from. That's what we think, This is true. One time we were playing a game against another Christian school, Keswick Christian. And I had a pretty good game at the half, right? And like we're going into the locker room for halftime. And a fan, not of me, of the other team, he yells out at all of us going to the locker rooms. He goes, you can't let that retard beat you, right? And like that's a mean thing to say, right? And so they kicked him out, but I'll be honest, it lit a fire under me. You know what I mean? Like I came out of that locker room in the second half, locked in, tongue out, like, like Michael Jordan, guys, not the other thing. But, in fairness, I will say all the good that this does bring me, there are some gray areas to this privilege, right? Like, let me see if I can explain this well. I don't know if this makes sense to you guys, but I feel like in today's day and age, everybody wants to be right, but more importantly, nobody wants to be wrong. Does that make sense? Like we see it all the time, like social media and arguments and stuff like that. Everybody wants to be right, but more importantly, nobody wants to be wrong. I will give you a great example. So there was this one time, I was going to get some cigarettes. I pulled into a 7-Eleven. There are no parking spots available. It was just a handicap spot. And like, I'm thinking, no big deal, right? Like I'm going in, I'm going out, who cares? I'm only gonna be here for a minute. No big deal, right? Well, it was a big deal. Because there was a lady standing outside my car, and she's pointing at the handicap sign. She's mad, right? She's like, you see that sign, buddy? That's not for you. You can't park here. You gotta move. She's cussing me out. She's angry. And I knew she was right. But I also didn't want to be wrong, right? So like, I knew what I had to do. I got out of the car, I looked her in the eyes, and I said, you can't tell me what I can't do. And look, I know she felt bad because her eyes got all big and she was like, oh my God, I didn't know you were retarded. And then she took me by the hand, bought me some candy, She wiped the drool off my chin at the cash register, She looked at me and she was like, I didn't know they let you guys drive. And I was like, they do, and then we all learned something that day, right? Oh man, it's been a good year for me. I recently just got married, which was really nice. Yeah, shout out to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Those guys are amazing. Like listen, I'm very blessed. My wife is beautiful. She's smart. She's funny. She goes to another school. You guys wouldn't know who she is, but she is legit. I do want to say before I go, and she was like, "You'll do, right?" And she brought me home, cleaned me up, and it's been great, you know, like, because she feeds me, she lets me sleep in the bed with her. Every now and again, she puts peanut butter on her pussy, lets me lick it off. That's my treat if I'm being a good boy. And trust me, I am a good boy. I'm not going back to that shelter. All right, my name is Shea Freeman. You guys have been a lot of fun. Shout out to Jaron. I don't know if he's coming to take this microphone, but I know I can't keep it, so. My name is Shea Freeman. Have a great night, everybody.